Questions? Sam?
What does Malcolm mean to this offense and this receiving core?
You know, Malcolm, going into the season, he obviously was the guy that had played in big games and made big catches, made touchdown catches. But, you know, I really leaned on him on being the vocal leader. He's not just the leader of the receivers. He's one of the leaders of the entire unit. So Malcolm is very important to this team and just to the voice and the direction that we're going.
And that position at the Y, obviously I know there's a lot of big numbers that come out of it. What is it about that position in this offense that makes it critical or conducive to such high catch numbers?
Well, it's not just the Y position. Over the past, 7 years in this offense, you can see that, if you look back about 20 years, that it fluctuates from, your X receiver to your H receiver, your Y receiver, Z receiver that gets all the catches. I've seen it where Justin Blackman and Michael Crabtree have had it, and I've seen it where Wes Welker and like Malcolm Kennedy, for instance, right now this year is our leading our stat leader pretty much. But, it goes down to the quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks feel comfortable. Once they find comfortability in a receiver, then they're going to tend to lean on that guy and get him the ball more. But, lately this offense has been where the wide receivers getting the majority of the catches.
Question from Mike in the back.
With all the injuries Arkansas has had on defense, is it harder to prepare for them to know who's going to be in certain roles coming this Saturday?
A little bit. They came out and they played Texas Tech a little bit different. They put 5 defensive backs on the field. And the other teams, they put, 4 defensive backs on the field and added another linebacker in the game. But, the scheme stays the same. It just kind of goes down to personnel from that point. We got to kind of get a feel for that throughout the first, second, third drive of the game and see who they're putting out on the field, and then we're going to just have to attack it from there. But the scheme stays the same. Out of all the looks, they just try to change the personnel up a bit.
On the left, in the middle.
Hi there.
Hey.
Coach Sumlin talked a little bit about how everybody's saying this team hasn't really played anybody yet. Knowing that, with where you guys are at in the season and this game coming up, what are the biggest unknowns for your offense right now, and what do you need to learn from the team, and maybe specifically Kenny?
It's starting conference play again. You got to stay healthy from here on out, and it definitely. I think those first 4 games was more of just try to figure out who's going to step up and kind of figure out who we are as an offense. And going into this week, I think you got to build a lot of packages with all the players that we got, from tight end packages to empty packages to tight packages, everything that you can imagine, just because we got to throw it out there, and whoever's on, we got to lean on that package. And that's a big deal to me right now, is just figuring out, the guys that are going to step up. If injuries occur during the game, we got to be able to move to other packages that we've installed, and just hopefully we lean on those players.
We'll go back to Mike in the back.
Trey Flowers has had a great first half of the season, or first quarter of the season. How are you guys going to be able to stop him? Are you doing anything differently, doubling him, anything like that?
Yeah, we'll definitely. He's a very good player, and we'll definitely, we're going to definitely be targeting to him more often, and just make sure we can get 2 hats on him at times. But there's going to be times where he's going to be one-on-one, and we got to have our guys step up, and we got to block him. And I think we have a great challenge ahead with this front 4. Just going back and talking with Cliff Kingsbury over Arkansas, he was very impressed with their front and how they managed the game as well. And it's going to be a challenge for these offensive linemen.
Go to Jimmy on the right.
Yeah, Coach, you guys have started quickly in most of your games. I mean, most obviously last week. Are you big on scripting plays coming out of the box? What do you attribute your quick starts to?
I try to script the first 3 plays of the game. It's not very many, but, it's, a lot of things can happen in those first 2. I try to go 3. If you say you don't have success on those first 2, then you got to move into your third down package and go from there. But I try to get as multiple as I can in those first drives, just to see how teams are going to play you. But it definitely is. You try to script for success because you want to start fast, and especially playing a team like Arkansas and how they can control the ball offensively, it's very important for us to utilize each drive and then take advantage of it and try to get some points out of each drive. So. Definitely with the fast start, you only script a few plays, but you got to script for success, and hopefully you can get the ball moving early.
We'll go to Christy in the middle.
Can you talk about the value of having such a deep group of receivers, and do you think that's helped Kenny's development?
It definitely has. God, we have about 10 to 12 receivers out there that consistently make catches, and that's very good, especially with injuries. You know, Speedy didn't play last week, and we had other guys step up in those positions. And you know, and Boone Niederhofer went in, and Boone did a great job for us as well. And you know, over the past the Lamar, Rice, and SMU games, it was really good for Kenny building that continuity with those kids and understanding what each kid, what routes they run best, and what they do best. And you know, it's very important to have depth at that receiver position, because you know, if you have confidence in the backups, then we can keep this offense moving consistently and not have to target just certain receivers.
We'll go to Darrell in the back and then Aubrey.
Coach, without going into great detail, how often or how much did you talk to Cliff about what you're going to face? I mean, in the straight scoop, what did he give you?
It was mainly what we see on tape is pretty much what is. But, you know, I just asked him what he thought of the personnel, and he was very impressed with Arkansas, and he was impressed with their front and their scheme and how they're going to keep everything in front of you. They play hard. They keep everything in front of you. They rally to the ball, and they try to create turnovers. And I think their goal is, again, to keep it all in front and try to get the ball back to their offense and ball control and try to keep the other offense off the field.
Aubrey on the left.
This is kind of along those same lines, but how much does it really help you with as different as your personnel is from Texas Tech, but essentially the same offense? How much does that help you this week?
It does here and there. You know, obviously the personnel is differently, but you know, Cliff is. You know, I grew up with that guy in this tree, and it's good to, you know, just get some ideas off of him of what he thought and where we need to attack and what he, you know, certain things of here and there, but. You know, it's definitely, we do have different personnel than Texas Tech, but you know, his insight is always helpful.
Same in the middle.
Kyle got a whole half of play on Saturday. What do you think of what he showed on Saturday?
I thought Kyle did good. Again, I think he operates the offense pretty well. You know, at that point in the game, we did utilize the run game a little bit more, just to try to, you know, we had some other guys in the game like Brandon Alexander, who I thought did a great job at the tight end position, who's going to be a good backup there as well. But you know, from his standpoint, I thought it was good how he managed the game. He was handing the ball off. He was making what people don't realize is with SMU, and I said last week it was a mentally challenging game for those quarterbacks, and he did a great job of switching checks and getting the ball on the perimeter when he needed to. And you know, I thought he operated pretty smoothly. It was pretty good for the kid. I thought he got better.
We'll go to Gabe on the far right.
Jake, what can you tell us about how Jarvis Harrison has responded since coming back, and how do you think he projects moving forward? Do you think he gets back in soon?
Yeah, definitely. Jarvis is definitely going to see the field here versus Arkansas. I thought he's had a great attitude. He was smiling, joking on the sidelines. You know, the kid loves to play football, and it was fun just to see him out there and run around a bit. You know, we have him playing left tackle. He can play guard. You know, we can move him all over the field, and I'm comfortable with him in all of it because, you know, he's played in big games and he's done great things for us in the past. And, you know, I think you're going to keep seeing Jarvis keep working his way back onto the field.
We're going the back to Chris. And that might wrap us up.
Coach, a lot has been made about the depth that you guys have at wide receiver. One thing that Coach Sumlin talked about just now was that any player can play at any time. We've certainly seen that the past couple of weeks. Does that put any pressure on some of your other players, guys like Ricky or Malcolm, who are really those big recruits and those big-time guys, to make sure that they're consistently performing every week so that they don't get beat out on the depth chart?
No, definitely. I think competition brings out the best in everybody, and that's for sure at that position. We got so many bodies out there, and a lot of these kids are rising to the occasion and making plays, so it's definitely going to step the play up of those starting units. And, you know, if we keep recruiting like we're recruiting and bringing in other receivers, it's definitely going to make these guys try to push harder and try to get better and you know, not take any plays off for granted because, you know, you know, we're going to play the best players that we can, and the guys that are playing at the highest level are going to be the ones that are going to be taking the field first, and the ones that we rely on in those certain situations like third down and goal line and those money downs.
Follow-up.
Do you think that having that every week and going through practice, do you think that sets you up well for this week, you know, when you've seen that the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, definitely, especially if they're injured. You know, if they're injured, you know, that it gives that other guy opportunities to step in and keep getting better and still build that continuity with the quarterback. So, you know, I think it increases everything. You come back quicker from injuries, it's going to increase your how many plays that you're going to try to take during practice. You know, it's a lot of these guys are not going to take plays off anymore because they know that their job is always up for grabs.
We'll go to Brent and then finish with Courtney in the back.
I wanted to up the Boone Niederhofer references today. So what was it y'all saw in him to first just kind of get him on the field? And obviously he's been a good contributor for y'all as well.
Yeah, definitely. He, you know, I noticed him last year. It was my first year, obviously, but you know, he would come in and in certain situations and he'd make some plays. You know, he got to play in a couple games last year. And, you know, throughout spring ball, I thought he had a great spring ball. And, you know, the kid was making plays. The thing that makes him so important, he can play all 4 positions. And, you know, I try to train Coach Beatty and I try to train, you know, him at 2 positions. Boone can play all 4 of them. And that's just him. He takes it seriously. He's an intelligent kid. He learned all 4 positions, and then somehow he always seems to get into live scrimmages, and he started making a name for himself because when the ball came, he capitalized on his opportunity. And you can tell that over the past 4 games that he's been running it pretty smoothly, and he's having fun. He's catching and getting upfield, and he's blocking. He does everything right. And he's definitely a guy that these quarterbacks are comfortable with, which is always a positive.
We'll finish with Courtney in the back.
You've mentioned how Arkansas's whole goal is to get the ball to the offense, keep the ball on offense. Have you seen any frustration from Kenny Hill as far as, you know, not being able to get in there early or have the ball in his hands? And, I mean, from what we see, it's just pretty, you know, same Kenny Hill all the time.
That's exactly how he is with me. He's the same kid every day. You know, never gets too high, never gets too low. You know, he does show emotion. You know, when he scores, or even when he threw the interception this past week and he had emotion. But, you know, I think Kenny is just that guy that, hey, whenever I get out there on the field, I got to capitalize, and I got to take advantage of this opportunity, and you know, and just try to take us down and score. But, you know, you don't see him really worrying too much about those things. I think he's a guy that I can only control the things that I can handle.
All right. Thanks, Coach.